The storm was not like any the villagers had seen before. It carried an unexplainable smell, like damp earth and something decayed, and whispered strange sounds that many mistook for their own names. This unnatural tempest crept over Amaogwugwu, a village where secrets had lingered for too long, threatening to unravel them in one night. As lightning flashed, the glow illuminated Chief Udu's mansion, perched on the hill like a fortress. The golden gates gleamed in the light, mocking the humble homes below. Chief Udu's mansion wasn't just a building. It was a symbol of everything the villagers hated yet feared. It represented his greed, cruelty, and unchallenged dominance. Inside, Chief Udu sipped wine from a crystal goblet, seated in a grand hall adorned with imported silks and priceless artifacts. The fire in the hearth danced violently as if disturbed by the growing storm. Udu was a man of great power, and he relished the fear he commanded. But tonight, something gnawed at the edges of his confidence. It began subtly, a whisper that seemed to originate from nowhere and everywhere. He dismissed it as the wind until the whispers became louder, forming faint words. His grip on the goblet tightened as a chill swept through the hall. He turned sharply toward the towering windows, expecting to see the trees swaying in the wind. Instead, his eyes widened in horror. There, in the courtyard, stood a young girl. Her figure shimmered faintly, translucent but unmistakable. She looked no older than 10. Chains dangled from her wrists, clinking softly as she moved. Her hollow eyes locked onto his, and Udu felt an unfamiliar sensation: fear. He blinked, hoping she would disappear. Instead, more figures began to materialize behind her. Men, women, and children, each bearing marks of their suffering. Some had wounds that bled endlessly, while others carried chains, ropes, or the scars of their enslavement. Their eyes glowed with a strange light, filled with sorrow and quiet rage. Udu stumbled back, his chair screeching against the marble floor. His voice trembled as he whispered, "What is this madness?" Down in the village, the storm had roused many from their sleep. The wind's cries felt unnatural, as though they carried voices. People peeked out of their windows and saw the glowing figures encircling Udu's mansion. The sight was both terrifying and mesmerizing. The old woman known as Amaogwugwu, the village elder and keeper of traditions, was the first to step outside. But her spirit remained unshaken. She stared at the mansion, her sharp eyes narrowing. "They have returned," she murmured. A small crowd gathered around her, their faces pale with fear. "Who has returned, Mama?" someone asked. "The souls of the lost," she replied. Her voice carried the weight of old stories, ones passed down through generations. The ones Chief Udu betrayed. Their pain has awakened them, and now they come for justice. Her words sent a ripple of unease through the crowd. Some crossed themselves, others whispered prayers. But as the minutes passed, fear turned to curiosity, and curiosity to anger. For years, the villagers had suffered under Udu's tyranny. They had lost loved ones, their dignity, and their freedom. The spirit's presence felt like an omen. Perhaps their time to rise against Udu had finally come. Inside the mansion, Udu's terror escalated. He tried to flee the dining hall, but every door he opened led him back to the glowing figures. They seemed to multiply with every passing second, their cries filling the air like a haunting melody. "Leave me!" Udu shouted, his voice breaking. "You have no power here." But the spirits were relentless. They followed him through the grand halls, their glowing eyes piercing his soul. Udu stumbled into his study, slamming the door shut behind him. His breaths came in short gasps as he locked the door and leaned against it. His gaze fell on a portrait hanging above the fireplace. It was of himself, painted in rich, bold strokes, portraying him as a proud and invincible leader. Now, the man in the painting seemed like a stranger. "Is this how it ends?" he muttered to himself. "After everything I've built?" But even as he clung to his pride, the whispers began again, louder this time. They spoke his name, followed by the names of those he had wronged. Back in the village, Mama Nkechi stood at the center of a growing crowd. She raised her hand, silencing their murmurs. "Tonight is not just about Chief Udu," she said. "It is about us. We have allowed his darkness to control us for too long. The spirits have come to remind us of our strength." A young man named Namdi stepped forward. He was strong and determined, one of the few who had always questioned Udu's rule. "Mama, what can we do? He has guards, weapons, and power. How can we fight him?" Mama Nkechi's gaze was steady. "The spirits have already broken his power. The storm, the cries, they are signs that his time is over. But we must act. Justice will not deliver itself." The crowd murmured in agreement. Slowly, they began to arm themselves with whatever they could find: torches, farming tools, sticks. Their fear was replaced by a shared determination. For the first time in years, they felt united. The villagers marched toward Udu's mansion, their torches lighting the way. The storm seemed to guide them, its winds parting as they moved forward. When they reached the gates, they found them wide open, as if inviting them in. The guards, who had once been fiercely loyal to Udu, were nowhere to be found. Some had fled in terror. Others had abandoned their posts, unwilling to face the supernatural force surrounding the mansion. Inside, the villagers found Udu surrounded by the spirits. He was on his knees, his face pale and his body trembling. The once mighty tyrant looked small and powerless, a shadow of the man who had ruled over them with an iron fist. "Search the mansion," Mama Nkechi commanded. "Let the truth be revealed." The villagers spread out, tearing through the lavish rooms. They uncovered hidden chambers filled with shackles and chains, journals documenting Udu's cruel dealings, and lists of names. People who had been sold, exploited, or betrayed. Each discovery fueled their anger and solidified their resolve. As dawn approached, the mansion was in ruins. The villagers had destroyed the symbols of Udu's wealth and power, reclaiming what had been taken from them. The spirits, their mission complete, began to fade with the first light of dawn. Their cries quieted, replaced by a profound silence. Udu, stripped of everything, was cast out of the village. His once proud posture was gone, replaced by the stooped gait of a broken man. The villagers watched him leave, their faces a mix of relief and triumph. With Udu gone, the village began to heal. The people worked together to rebuild their homes, their trust, and their sense of community. They honored the spirits, not with fear, but with respect, knowing that justice, though delayed, had been served. The cries of the lost were gone, but their message remained: no darkness could stand forever. Moral lessons. Justice will prevail, no matter how long it takes. The spirits of the exploited victims returned to confront Chief Udu, proving that wrongdoing cannot be hidden forever. Evil deeds have consequences, and justice, though delayed, will always find a way to be served. Secondly, the power of unity in overcoming oppression. The villagers, once paralyzed by fear, found strength in coming together. Their collective courage broke the hold of tyranny and brought about change. This shows that standing united against injustice can overcome even the most powerful oppressors. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you are new to the channel. And special shout out to our returning subscribers.